All right, guys, it's time for something new. I've tried to do a YouTube series for a while. I'm not consistent, and YouTube's not really like my full-time thing. What I try to do, I don't get paid from YouTube. I'm not even trying to get paid from YouTube. This is just extra for my sponsors. To get paid by YouTube, you have to post so much and be so consistent that I'll never be able to do that. If I want to run my own tournament trail, kayak adventure series, if I want to, fish the tournaments that I want to fish, if I want to design kayaks with Crescent, if I want to design and work on product development with my sponsors, if I want to do all these things, I can't do them all and all of a sudden be some full-time YouTuber, because I do things a little bit differently and people find it interesting. And so what we're going to call this series, this playlist, is simply Against the Current with Drew Gregory, because I go against the grain. I do things differently. I go against the current. People are zigging this way. I like to zag that way. People know me as fishing very much in a way that, the kayak really excels at. And why most of us got into kayak fishing to begin with was really because it can go to places boats can't go. These wild places that I love to fish, and they're creeks, they're rivers, they're backwaters, they're just skinny, shallow water. People refer to me as a John Cox or Keith Boucher. It's very, very true in that they do things differently in the bass boat world, and I do that similar thing in the kayak world. So you guys are going to get to see a little bit of that. I'm not going to show everything. I'm not going to give away all the juice. These videos, you're going to learn a lot for sure, and you're going to see how I go against the grain. We're going to start with the Bassmaster Kayak Series Championship on Lake Fork. It's a little bit out of order. However, it's kind of in order in the sense that we all qualified for that in 2024 with our AOI standings, and so my goal is to get that AOI back from Russ. Russ is a good friend of mine. Love Russ. I want that back. I pretty much just fished the minimum number of events these last couple years, but I'm going to go and fish more this year. But I got a plan. I got a game plan. It's a little bit risky, but I'm going to be fishing the Bassmaster Kayak Series with just 1 day of practice. Maybe I'll have a half day to drive around. All the events I'm just going in with 1 day of practice. I won Lake Havasu like that. I drove around a couple hours one day. Next day got on the water for 1 day of practice, and then fished a tournament and just figured it out on those 2 tournament days. So the point is, I'm just trying to spend more time with my family, first of all, and do these other things that I want to do in the industry. But the other thing is I want to prove and show you guys how when you come to those classes that I offer, whether online or in person, that I will offer more, especially in the fall and over the winter, you're going to see how you do not need to be on the water as much as you think you have to be. You definitely have to understand how to catch bass, okay? I'm not saying that, and that does take time in the water. Now, for me, it came all growing up all the way until I was, I think, 35 when my wife magically appeared in my life. So I had a long time, thanks to her, to be on the water a lot, learn all this stuff. It's never left my brain. You guys know how anglers are. I still remember every stick, stump, boulder I've ever caught a fish off of. I can probably tell you the weight of it. It's weird. I don't understand how our brains do this. It's weird, but we do it. But the point is, because we have so many resources at our disposal, right here on our computers these days, you got all these resources at your fingertips. You got 20, 25 years of history, if not more, of videos of all these lakes. And it's just the apps that are out there these days, the information that I used to get old school, that I still even just kind of know in my head and just get old school, you can get it a lot quicker and easier, all consolidated into one app, like the Omnia Pro app, for example. So bass are a creature of habit. They're going to do the same things. Certainly they can move a little bit due to pressure, but in general, most places out there, the pressure is not heavy enough to where it's just going to move a population of bass around. They're going to go where the food is. They're going to live their life naturally and do the things they do as an animal, as a creature. Just that's what they're going to do. And we know, we have this information. We understand them more than ever now. And you guys can go into a tournament just like I do with very little practice. Even if you have to figure out on tournament day, like I did in Lake Fork, like you're going to see in this video, you're about to find out how I go against the current to get it done. Look, it doesn't always work, but I can tell you this right now. It's going to get you as close as possible to a successful starting spot. And from there, you do have to use your intuition and your instincts and your experience to fish the moment, make the right decisions, and kind of like I did here on Lake Fork. So let's just get into video number 1, Lake Fork Bassmaster Kayak Series Championship. This is the only event this year that the championship will always be the one that I will give myself 2.5 or 3 days of practice. I don't do, 4, 5, 6. I don't have time for that. I just need, for the championship, it's the biggest one of the year for us. It's our classic. I need at least 2.5, 3 days. Now, wind crushed us in this event. I mean, all of our practice days were absolutely insanity. We were practicing same day that the Bassmaster elites were practicing for the Classic. You've all seen videos of what their practice looked like, right? Trey McKinney trying to get his boat on the trailer. That is what we were practicing in. So it limits you in a big way on where you can go because of that and what you can do. But you got to pay attention to where the wind's going to be in tournament day as well, because a lot of times if it shifts like it did in this event, some of your best strategies, and people have a hard time doing this, but some of your best strategy will be to literally go and wing it in an area that didn't get pressured and is going to be out of the wind on tournament day, even though it was all in the wind in practice. Okay, so that's when you have to just trust your instincts that you know how to catch bass. You can do it. On Lake Fork, you can almost put in any ramp. I've never been there. It was my first time there, but I know you can almost put in any ramp and win the event launching from that area. Now, I will say the backwaters, if you do all your research about Lake Fork, the way not to go, and when I mean backwaters, I mean actual legit, the northern, mostly at those northern creeks that flow in, up those arms that are north and south, they're true backwaters. They're up there, they are remote, they are where the creeks come in, and they typically, it just seems like your biggest bass from all the research I've done are not up there. I don't know if that's because bass boats cannot get far enough up there where I like to get, or what, but I do know this. Giants live in the main lake on Lake Fork. Absolute giants. We all see what Trey McKinney did last year. We all know, based on every tournament you've ever seen there with Lee Livesey, you don't need to go to the backwaters. You don't need to go there to get out of where bass boats, where they can't get. You don't need to go there to find some magical population of big fish that isn't getting pressured. That's not the play on Lake Fork. However, that's me. That's what I know. That's what I love. That's what I'm good at. So even though I know the biggest fish necessarily aren't there, I still feel like I don't want to be fishing in the crowds of people, other kayak anglers and bass boats on the main lake, all fishing with the same bedding bass that are getting absolutely hammered and have been caught several times. They're getting harder and harder to catch. I want to find something that's fresh. And during our practice, all the wind blew from the south to the north and absolutely destroyed those backwaters that I want to fish. I couldn't really even practice them very well. I tried to tuck in just see if I could find where some clear water is. It wasn't great, but I want to explain a couple things here. This event was especially difficult for me to get time in the water because it's a good problem to have. Trust me, I've got a lot of sponsors. Some came on here a little bit later than normal. So things I should have been doing or could have been doing over the winter were getting done at this event. So, super thankful for Casking. I got a shipment of all, some rods, reels, their gear, tackle boxes, tools, all that stuff, right? So I'm unpackaging everything. I have a Torpedo that was, in service. Turns out it was fine, but I sent it back to them anyway just to check it. Don't have it yet, so I'm using my new motor. I have to get all that set up and rigged. There's a lot going on. I've got the new Power Pole Vision I've been messing with, tinkering with, and how to set it up on the kayak. I've got a new steering system, so shout out to New Canoe. Hey, I might work with Crescent, design kayaks for Crescent, but there's lots of great manufacturers in the industry. New Canoe is one of them, and they sent me their hand steering and foot steering, so I could actually use, kind of like you've seen Guillermo Gonzalez do. You can stand up with my Torpedo. I put a half of an old Bending Branches paddle that broke. I just went ahead and just used that as a pole, so I could actually stand up, and then I raise my throttle with Yak Attack components to get it up high. So now I can stand and sight fish. Well, I know this is going to be a sight fishing event. Our tournament was on Wednesday and Thursday. I get there late on Saturday night, okay? So I'm whipped from a long, whatever it was, 16, 17-hour drive from Northeast Ohio. Then I am, I sleep in because I just need some rest, right? I'm unpackaging things, getting things together as fast as I can. I'm trying to fix this hydraulic line for my power pole blades, my dual power poles there, the 4-footers. I mean, I'm a mess. I'm a mess at every tournament. You can ask anyone that stays with me. I'm all over the place. I'm always rigging something new because I rig like literally it's almost a separate kayak build for every tournament based on the strategy I've developed that I think I can win that tournament with. Anywhere that's shallow, the super shallow, especially with vegetation shallow, that's where I'm going to use those dual power pole blade, that setup. And it really helped me in this event. So I'm so busy rigging all this stuff, but then I look at the weather and I'm like, oh my goodness, guys, this is the only day it's calm. The only day is Sunday that it's calm. And I cannot be just rigging stuff all day. I've got to get on the water. Otherwise, the next 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, are going to be blowing, 30, 40, 50 mile an hour gusts, and I'm not going to be able to see anything on this lake. So I finally get on the water about noon. I do just the minimum. I said, forget it. I'm not going to rig up all that stuff yet. Just let me get what I need to get on the water and start seeing some areas. So day one, as you can see, I'm here at my first put in. I just actually stopped at this ramp to just put in, and it looked like a spot that was out of the way. Not a lot of people were there, and I could just focus on dialing in my setup, have all my tools in my truck, rig it all up, make sure it all works properly with the new travel from Torqeedo. It's basically similar to the 1103, but it's a new one. It was a good day of practice. It was not windy. I paddle around. I'm standing up. But I do see some fish on bed. I see that there are some fish in this backwater, and that may come to play later, but just knowing the kind of zone they were in on beds helped. The kind of water clarity, water's kind of in the mid 60s. It's really, really warm in this backwater, and it's just calm. It's protected from the wind. It's getting beat by the sun. So they were pretty active back there. So I'm literally just exploring every little piece of connected water that my kayak will float in that definitely a bass boat can't get to, and most other kayak anglers probably won't either. Yeah, it gets a little bit, that's why my kayak always looks like a mess when you see pictures of my fish on Tourney X. Kayak looks like a mess because of going through places like this a lot of times. But I ran into some other anglers there as well. I saw them. Of course, this whole lake looks good. That's the problem.
Yeah. Doesn't matter where you go.
I know. I knew this place, this backwater was you launch right in the backwater, like right in it. So, and I'm going to give you guys a lot of the juice on this event because I'll be honest with you, I don't think I'm really ever going to go back to Lake Fork and fish it again, quite frankly. I mean, I like to get away from the boats and the pressure. It's just not my thing. I mean, there will be a big tournament there again sometime. I'll have to go, I'm sure, but you'll see where I was. There's some bridges and stuff. Doesn't matter to me because the fish are so shallow and everything changes. It's not like this is I won the tournament. I didn't win. I mean, I got 10th. That's good, but I didn't find some magical football field size that giant bass live that I would never want to give up. Knowing that I'll be back there, they stack up there every spring. So I caught some fish. Caught a small one to start off with. Did get a big bite. I don't know where this GoPro clip went. Somehow magically I deleted the one clip I needed, but I had a really good fish hit, a Z-Man jerk shad, swimming it across the surface. Big old mouth just comes up, whoo, inhales it. Definitely in that 20-inch class fish. So good sign. Then a little bit later on, I loop around in the same kind of area and catch one that was I believe around 20 inches right there. I am recording. It's a good one. First good fishing practice here. Lake Fork, she's bleeding. I'm gonna let her go. All right, that'll work. So now I've lost a big one that I saw for sure, caught a big one, caught some other ones, seen some on beds. There's fish in this area. Boom, I'm out of there. That's all I really had time to do on day one of my practice. So moving into day two, again, it was half day. I fished from like 12 to 6 probably. So now I'm moving on. On day two, my strategy was to go somewhere as far away from the launches as possible. So there was one cove that I figured it was a pretty long run, like 3.5 miles. It was gonna get just trashed with this south to north wind on the Monday. I said, well, I'm gonna go in there. All right, guys, day two practice, Bassmaster Kayak Series. Got the launch here. Ready to rock and roll. A little windy. I'm all ready to roll. And I get to this one little area that I could tell is a little bit protected. It has a little bit cleaner water. There's a clear defined mud line, a little cleaner water. The problem is it's very there's just matted up old dead hyacinth. There's stuff that's just decaying matter that's just makes some of these areas just yucky. It's kind of like this smelly, kind of like bubbly mud. Not this good, healthy bottom. And that's more where you're gonna find bowfin and some trash fish gar. And sure enough, I catch this giant bowfin. It was right next to me. It bit right at the boat. I wasn't quite sure what it was, so I kind of had to let it eat. And then I wasn't too thrilled that it ate. Dang it, dang it. Let go of my spinnerbait, dude. Size of this thing. Freaking huge. Something's back here. Not what we're looking for. So I zip around. I'm just looking for clean water with some good grass, something positive, a little bit better bottom, not this mushy, decayed matter bottom. I lost a fish that I think was a bowfin. I thought I saw it and saw those kind of prehistoric looking fins doing this little wave that they do. I'm pretty sure it was a bowfin. At one point, I actually go way up the creek, actually in the creek, and again, I'm trying to find some needle in a haystack, something that no one else has ever found, no bass boat's ever been there, so how do we know these actual true creeks won't play? I mean, and maybe there's times that they get up in there, and big ones do. I don't know. I just feel like the biggest bass in Lake Fork are these big gizzard shad eaters, and they're out in the main lake doing their thing offshore somewhere, and that's just kind of where you're going to catch those overs. It's 24, 25 inchers, 26s. So I go up this creek anyway. I just want to explore, and no luck. I catch white bass, but no bass. So that kind of ended that. White bass. I go out and I zip around the cove and go into the very, very far back of this creek to find some clear water. I get back there. It's okay. I lost a fish. I'm pretty sure it was a bass. It looked like it was pretty big. I get the very far back, catch a little buck. I come back out, start working a grass edge, and had some pretty good success. I catch one, a smaller one, and then I actually lost one. Hit a spinnerbait, just swirled on a spinnerbait. I'm using that Z-Man sling blade. It's like a ½ ounce, or maybe it was probably 3/4 in that wind. And I switched out the blade. The back blade was a willow leaf. Switched it to a chartreuse painted wide willow leaf blade that I love. I love to kind of use that in murky water, and they seem to react on it pretty good. So I miss one. I throw back in with that jerk shads, that 7-inch jerk shads from Z-Man. And I didn't get the right spot, I guess. I throw back in again, and sure enough, I'm kind of drifting close to the fish, and she takes it. I set the hook the best I can. I had a little bit too much slack in the line, and she comes to the surface. Her head wallers, spits the hook. Doesn't matter. I saw her. It was a bass. It was big. Oh my God! Dang it. I hope you got that, and I hope I can tell it's bass. I got bit again pretty soon, that same grass line as I'm working this bank. I know there's fish here. This is something now. The question is, you know, okay, what can I combine with this? The back of the backwater, the only little part that's clean, right? That's gonna be clean even during the tournament, because even with day one being canceled, day one was canceled, so it all got to settle and rest. The wind still kept coming from that direction basically. So I just wasn't sure. It's a long 3.5 mile run to even get to this spot, so it's not like it's close, because then you got a 3.5 mile run back, right? And you need to know that there's enough population of fish there, something else to go with it if you're gonna make that long run. I find a little creek actually where there's some fish, catch some in the back of another little creek, a smaller creek that's feeding in it that was protected. It was a little clear, so I catch those fish. It's 3.5 miles from my other spot, actually, so I could make this run. This is possible. There's enough here. I think there's enough here. It's not great, but it's at least something. The final day of practice, I ended up going with Jake Hepner, my good buddy Jake Hepner. We go to another backwater that we haven't explored yet.
Game begin.
Where were you? What'd you say?
Live in the current.
Living in the current. All right. Thank you.
The wind's just ripping up the lake, you know, from south to north again. Just super treacherous. Went to the backwater, found some protected water that was cleaner from the grass, and it was okay. I mean, we saw some fish. I found a few fish on bed, marked them. Never really could find much of anything else. Jake saw a pretty big one on bed somewhere, or at least under a small dock, and then caught some.
Look at that. Choked the jerk shad. Little backwater bassin. So 16 inches, definitely not winning fish. That's where I caught the 16, and it was the male.
Remember, always take the road less traveled. Even if it means you get snagged, hung up, or if it's a dead end. I mean, I went back, we went up way up the creek, we tried it again, we went way up this creek and tried to go explore some backwater pond that we saw on the map on Google satellite imagery, and like I said, I've got my PowerPole vision out there. I'm marking things, I'm checking things. Obviously it's connected to my Google account, so I've got all my waypoints on there with the maps, and I'm able to just check them. So we went to this backwater, we caught some white bass going up, caught some white bass. It's crazy, saw some wild boar that were everywhere. It was nuts, tons of them. You might be able to see them on the video, but on the GoPro, but oh dang.
What the heck is that?
They're wild hogs.
Really? I hope not.
Yeah, they are.
Don't mess it up.
Yeah, look at them, dude.
Did I ever tell you about the one that attacked
Look at
me?
all of them, dude. There's a ton of them.
See him?
Yeah, they're right there. They're black. They're right there.
Oh yeah, I do see him. Dang. Hogs can swim good.
Yep. Oh, there's one. Oh my God.
Oh,
the white bass. White bass. Like a big largemouth. I saw how broad it was.
Here, turn around. There you go. That's what you come to Lake Fork for.
Up a creek catching white. Yeah. There we go. There we go. Another one.
Hey, maybe we'll make a YouTube video out of white bass. Freaking 15-inch white bass, or wiper, or whatever you want to call it. Man, I'm really surprised there's no largemouth with how healthy this is.
Definitely had fun exploring and finding, just going somewhere that most anyone else has never been able to before. Way back there, exploring a cool backwater area, looking to see if there was anything in that pond, but there was nothing there. It was just too shallow. I know they get real shallow in Fork, absolutely, but they don't get this shallow. So they weren't up there. We had to turn around, go right back. A lot of what I do in practice, you'll notice, I don't catch, a lot of people say, oh, I got 95 inches and 100 inches and whatever. I really am not catching hardly anything. I'm just looking for the magical spot. And if I ever find it, I'm certainly not going to keep catching enough to have 5 out of that spot, to have, 90 something inches. I'm literally going to catch a big fish. Most of the places I go are small, they're sensitive, fragile. I'm going to catch one out of there. If it's big, I know there's more bigs there. I'm going to move a significant distance away and try to expand. And then I'm just going to learn it and figure it out on the day of the tournament. So you see I score 102 inches, you think, oh God, that must have been easy. Yeah, that was easy for that guy. He's always up there. He always has big numbers and big totals and big limits. It must be so easy for that guy. This video series is going to show you guys how it's not. It's a grind. It's a struggle. I'm searching and hunting for something magical every single moment of practice. And when I don't find it on the very first day of the tournament, I'm starting from scratch and searching on that day, which I did at this tournament. So you're going to see how you got to, again, that goes back to having the confidence that you can go somewhere new on tournament day and still find them and figure them out in that area based on all the information you've gathered. Or many times that is the best play. If you're trying to win, a lot of times that is the best play. You could go somewhere you've caught some fish, somewhere safer, you've caught some medium-sized fish that can maybe get you good points or whatever. Forget that. I'm there to win, always. So I'm starting from scratch on tournament day. If nothing good has turned up in practice or nothing winning was found, I'm going somewhere new. Because I can always still combine that with something I found in practice, or just keep hunting all day long. So that's what I did. I tried to hunt down something new in this event, but that final day of practice, I think I caught like one bass. Eventually I actually caught one actual bass. I could have caught the ones off bed, obviously, but I was just searching, looking. I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the right kind of vegetation, the right kind of clean water, the right kind of conditions, the right spot that's far away from most people, further away than what most people are willing to go and risk losing that much time. So that's what I'm looking for. Now, where the part of the day that I kind of regret doing was it's just that sort of searching and the desire and the passion to find that magical spot, I think got to me so much where it really caused me to make a poor decision. And the wind was I had a 1.5 mile run to get to this protected cove all the way, going back, I guess that'd be back south, straight into the wind that's coming south to north, straight through all the big waves. I decided to run 1.5 miles. That was a very scary run. Probably should have not done it. So I make the run, I get way over there, and sure enough, the pockets I was looking for, I saw a bass boat in there. There was just that thick, dead vegetation, that dead hyacinth that's matted up. It's yucky, it's smelly, it's stinky. Never found anything good there. Just turned right back around and came back. And some of the hardest, part about fishing and waves that big in a kayak really is keeping your boat directly with those waves. Never get perpendicular with them, directly with them. And then on the way back, it's challenging because they're pushing your stern up and you're surfing them. You're going a lot faster. You're actually just surfing them, and that can throw people off and get you kind of wonky. You can never turn to the one side or the other. It's really sketch. The whole run was super sketch. Should not have done it. But anyway, I did. So Jake and I took off the water, you know, I don't know, 30 minutes before we were supposed to be off the water. That was day 3 of practice. Headed back to check-in registration. And now I've got this big decision in my head. So do I go to that spot where I had only bit of success? Those, you know, I saw one that was 20, I caught one that was 20. Do I make the long run to this other spot? Do I start somewhere totally new? And I did do some driving around and scouting and looking with my eyes from the road. And I did see one other backwater I never ever had time to check out and scout. I can see there's a lot of clean water there. Some, at least behind the grass, it's cleaner. Behind, there's like this thick layer of good grass. It's alive and has life to it, and it's thick, so it's kind of protecting, you know, the water, and it's allowing the muddy water to stay on the kind of main lake side, if you will. And then behind it, with how much water we'd had, you know, the lake was a full pool. Behind it, there was actually enough depth and clean water. And I just assumed that there were going to be some there. It looked right based on everywhere I'd seen them in practice, that I actually saw fish and caught fish. It looked really good. And I just decided, you know, this is the championship. There's no AOI points on the line. I'm just going to start there. I know there's got to be fish there. I'm going to wing it and just see what happens. And then go from there. I know I can either motor 3.5 miles to the other spot that I found, or either of those spots. I could motor. They're both about the same, about 3.5 miles from where I was. Or I could load back up and drive and relaunch. 3.5 miles, that's kind of pushing the limits in a kayak of wasting too much time, especially when you think you can go 3.5 miles and bass boats are sitting right there, or other kayak anglers were already there, or whatever. In a kayak, it is a big gamble. All right, guys, day 1, well, only day. 1-day shootout, Bassmaster Kayak Series Championship. Lines in 7:30. Any second. About to get this party started.